the more you indulge in sense contact, the less you enjoy. So even the little pleasure that you get in sense contact goes away when you indulge in it unintelligently.
For example, if somebody is giving you a pizza, wow, you enjoy the pizza, gratification. The second pizza makes you fed up. And the third pizza tells you, I just can't eat it. So beautifully you have said, happiness is not in sense gratification.
Action gives much better quality of happiness and it lasts for a longer period of time. But that action, if it's selfish, self-centered, it's being done only because you want something out of it, then it's the lowest quality of happiness. You get sorrow also with it.
We want pleasure, we don't want pain. We want to be glad, we don't want to be sad. We want happiness, we don't want unhappiness. Nobody will deny this, right? But Jaya, what people don't understand is enlightenment is as simple as enlighten, to switch on the light within.
So it is a law that all selfish people will be unhappy and no unselfish person will be sorrowful.
And I realized, Jaya, it was all because of my ego, that I that stands tall like a wall. It makes us fall.
The mantra for happiness, what I call as the formula for happiness, was given centuries ago in the Upanishads. It's given in the Kathopanishad. It is repeated again in the Bhagavad Gita.
Your formula is something I'm going to take home today, but let me quickly give you the happiness secret. To me, HaPPP, my happiness has 3 P's, INESS, and then secret, SECRET. I'm quickly running through this with you. Happiness. Who doesn't want to be happy? Everybody is searching for happiness. We want pleasure. We don't want pain. But we become unhappy again and again. Why? What is the cause of unhappiness? We can be glad, but we become sad. Are we mad? No. The mind is the monster. The ego creates anguish. Today, with Jaya Rao, we are having a happiness podcast. A podcast that will show you the way to eternal bliss in truth consciousness. Good morning and namaskar, Jaya ji. Welcome to the amazing podcast we are going to have this morning.
Namaskar. Thank you.
So before I get started, let us quickly give a short introduction to Jaya, because Jaya is not somebody who needs an introduction. Actually, she's very well advanced in this world of Vedanta. She runs her own Vedanta Institute. She has spoken at several corporates in the US and several famous universities. And she's an expert in the subject of happiness, in the subject of spirituality. Rare to find somebody like Jaya Rao. And don't get fooled by her spelling. It's R-O-W, but it's Jaya Rao. And when you look her up on the social media, you will find many videos and you will enjoy listening to her. She is an outstanding speaker. And I was motivated to have this conversation with her because we both talk a little bit of Vedanta. I'm going to understand from Jayaji about her view on Advaita, but also because of her respect that she has got across in the world for her such a large experience. It is an honor and pleasure to have Jaya on this call. So Jaya, would you like to say something before we start?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you, speaking to you and to your audiences. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Thank you. So, my dear friends, those of you who are happy to be on this podcast, I must tell you that this podcast is all about happiness. We are going to be talking on something which every individual wants. And Jayaji is an is an authority on the subject, and I have been on this for over 10 years, and I have discovered some secrets, and she has got her own perspective. So, Jaya, I would like you to start. Why don't you share your understanding of the word happiness?
Okay. See, all of us are happy, but only sometimes. And our happiness is unnecessarily interrupted by bouts of sorrow or unpleasantness. And this is what we want to remove, but most of us don't know how it happens. So it's something like this. If you were to give a chocolate to a person who has never seen chocolate in his life, he would remove the outer cover and eat the chocolate with the silver foil, with the foil. Now, what would happen then? He would enjoy the sweetness of the chocolate, but that would unnecessarily be interrupted by this unpleasant taste in the mouth of the foil. So he would
Absolutely.
have to spit it out. Now, what Vedanta speaks, or what our ancestors discovered, is how to be happy all the time without these bouts of unpleasantness, and most importantly, how to be happy without depending on the world. In other words, whatever the world presents before us, pleasant or unpleasant, we have the power within us to be happy. But this power, most of us don't know, and we are not exercising this. So we are hopelessly dependent on the world for our happiness.
So beautifully said. And in fact, Jaya, when I've been talking to several people in the last few years, couple of years, I got an awakening on the 31st of August 2014. And at that time, I didn't really know what was happiness. I knew I was on a journey for 25 years of success. I had a big business, I ran large departmental stores, and I was very successful. But I always thought success is happiness. I always thought achievement is happiness. And the whole world also thinks that. It is not that it's wrong. But what I tell people, like you said, it's like eating the chocolate with the foil. So I say, when I speak to some celebrities these days and tell them there is something called eternal happiness, they laugh. They say, what are you talking? How can you even imagine? Because the world thinks there's pleasure and pain, there's loss and gain, there's sun and rain. And this happens again and again. But Jaya, like you and me know, happiness doesn't come from success. If success was happiness, then all the successful people in the world should be happy. You have met YPO, you're a member, you speak at YPO. There are so many people in the world who are rich and famous, but they're not happy. So, in fact, I would like to get into the depth of some tips, what you would like to share with people as to how to be happy, point one, how to remove this misery and sorrow. I have, just with all humility, I have changed the spelling of happiness. To me, I don't know whether you've seen this part of it. I spell happy as HAPPY. So for me, happy has three P's. And happiness, I spell as HAPPPINESS. So I'm going to hand over to you by just telling you that in my learning, Jaya, happiness, the first step of happiness is pleasure, which is the chocolate. The second step of happiness is peace, which is contentment and fulfillment. And the third step of happiness is purpose, which is enlightenment. So with this, I want you to give us some tips. I'm just leaving you with this submission. So whenever I talk about happiness, I talk of the three P's of happiness. So Jaya, how can we be happy all the time?
Before we get there, because I'm going to save the best for the last,
Great.
of our happiness, let's take a look at why the majority of human beings are going wrong. We're going wrong because we're looking for happiness in the wrong place. We're looking for happiness in objects of the world, objects of desire. So now let's examine. If happiness were in the object of desire, the same object should give the same quantum of happiness to everyone. This doesn't
Absolutely.
happen.
Yes.
For instance, A cigarette gives intense pleasure to one person, extreme displeasure to another. So
Beautiful.
it cannot be in the object. So it seems as if we are chasing after a mirage when the oasis is in the opposite direction.
Beautiful.
So the first step is to look within, change the direction within. And then comes uh, an examination of where are we looking for happiness. We are looking for happiness in sense objects, sense contact. We're
Yeah.
looking for happiness through action, like the Indian cricket team have just found happiness in winning the World Cup.
Absolutely.
We look for happiness in relationships.
Yeah.
When you fall in love, you are happy. And intellectual delights, getting a PhD is a moment of celebration to some people.
Correct.
And the last is spiritual search.
So before you get this, I want to add one very important point to the beautiful thing you said. So Jaya, like you said, that people get a kick out of something, right? People get a kick out of a cigarette, but you and me may not like the cigarette because the cigarette, but you and me also enjoy pleasure. For example, you may enjoy being in New York, but I may enjoy being in the Maldives. So our viewers should know that what these objects are doing, they are creating sensual gratification. Don't you agree with me? There are five aspects of our life: our eyes, our nose, our ears, our tongue, and our skin. When these five sense organs are gratified, we get pleasure. But Jaya, like you said, this is not eternal happiness. For example, if you said somebody gets a PhD, okay, you get a PhD and you are very happy, or you're in a relationship. That relationship is making you happy today. But then why tomorrow you say, I'm so bored, yeah? Why am I so bored about? No, because that relationship is not giving you happiness. The happiness is inside you. You are getting a gratification at some point, and the next moment you are getting disappointed. For example, if somebody is giving you a pizza, wow, you enjoy the pizza, gratification. The second pizza makes you fed up, and the third pizza tells you, I just can't eat it, I'll throw it in the dustbin. So yes, so beautifully you have said, happiness is not in sense gratification. And all beautifully said what Jaya said, every object that seems to be an object of happiness is not a source of happiness. The source is inside us, the object is outside us. Happiness is in the subject, not in the object. Over to you, Jaya. I hope we are on the same path.
So, if you take a look at these, you find that sense gratification gives you the least amount of happiness. Uh, it lasts only as long as the sense object is in contact with your sense organ, and once it's over, it's over. Plus, there is a thing called neutralization, the law of diminishing returns. The more you indulge in sense contact, the less you enjoy. So, even the little pleasure that you get in sense contact goes away when you indulge in it unintelligently.
But unfortunately, the world is not aware of what you are saying. The world is just chasing and chasing. I was going from one peak of success to another peak of success to another peak of success to another peak. YPO, for example. What does a typical YPO want to do? He wants to make more money and more money and more money. I'm a member of YPO for your information. I'm a member of the Bangalore chapter. So we are all alike. We all continue. We all just want to make money.
Then let's go to action. Action gives much better quality of happiness and it lasts for a longer period of time. But that action, if it's selfish, self centered, it's being done only because you want something out of it, then it's the lowest quality of happiness. You get sorrow also with it.
Right.
You get tension, stress. So, if you turn that action unselfish, the same action can be selfish, same action can be unselfish. For instance, the cricketers can play cricket for glory, for wealth, for fame, And that is what Virat Kohli has said. He said, I thought happiness was in fame, in wealth, in success. I got all three, but I was still unhappy, you know? So that changes. The same cricket you can play for the country, you can play for the team, and then your happiness increases in quality and in quantum. It lasts for a longer time. And finally, also you become more successful. Finally, when you become selfless, in other words, you are acting only because you want to get to that state of self realization or enlightenment, then you become a powerhouse of energy, vitality, dynamism, and success. And you are happy within, you attain what you called as eternal infinite happiness, and you get to that state of enlightenment where you're independent of the world. This very few people know. So everyone is chasing after more fame, more wealth, more success, not realizing that that won't give you happiness.
Jaya, very unfortunately, you will agree with me, many of the so-called spiritual people in this world, they have made it look like enlightenment is a very mystical thing. It's a very magical thing. Now, you being an awakened person, you know what it is all about. But why are people, when I tell people sometimes, I was awakened, oh, you were awakened? How come? How did it happen? What is this awakening? Like you said, we want pleasure, we don't want pain. We want to be glad, we don't want to be sad. We want happiness, we don't want unhappiness. This is, nobody will deny this, right? But Jaya, what people don't understand is enlightenment is as simple as enlighten, to switch on the light within. And you know it, when we switch on the light within, we realize the body suffers physical pain, the mind makes us miserable, the ego creates agony. We will get into these causes of misery now. But if only we realize we are not the body, mind, ego, like you said, we'll keep this for the end. We must give people a taste of this. But let's now quickly come to this. Since enlightenment is the last chapter of our book of discussion today, why are people becoming miserable? Why are people becoming unhappy? What's robbing our happiness?
Basically, selfishness.
Okay.
So, to the extent we are obsessed with thought of self, you become a failure. You can't become successful because your own talent and skill you can't access when thought of self comes in. For instance, a lady may be an excellent cook, but when she wants to impress her guests with her cooking, what happens? She puts extra salt in one dish, she burns the second dish. The entire meal is a disaster, not because she does not know how to cook, but because thought of self came in the way. So, thought of self comes in the way of success. Thought of self comes in the way of happiness. Because the law is that it's only when you think of others, when you are a giver, that you can be happy. Take a look at kindergarten children, 3-year-olds, 2.5-year-olds. One child goes to school and says to her friend, have this. My father got it from London. It's a chocolate. It's delicious. Have it. Look at the expression on her face. She is beaming with joy. She's happy. Another child says, no, it's mine. Watch the expression on his face. He's frowning. He's unhappy. So it is a law that all selfish people will be unhappy and no unselfish person will be sorrowful.
Beautiful.
So,
But Jay, what is the cause? Have you realized what is the cause of this selfishness?
ignorance.
Very good. Very good.
Ignorance of the law. People have to just, it's like a tiger tastes blood, like that. All of us have to taste the joy of unselfishness. Then we will never go back to selfishness.
Jaya, I must share with you, I was selfish. Not only I was selfish, I will tell you the 7 monsters of my life. I don't know whether you've heard this. But, sometimes like you said, a cook is trying to impress people. When I became an author, I wrote my first book, I was told, your book is not impressive. And instead of concentrating on writing an impressive book, I let the divine message flow through me. I'm today writing my 82nd book. I write a book a month. And I don't write, and I'm not adding any salt to the book. But I must tell you, I had 7 monsters. One was selfishness. But the 7 monsters that robbed my happiness: anger, hate, revenge, jealousy, pride, greed, and selfishness. And I realized, Jaya, it was all because of my ego, that I that stands tall like a wall. It makes us fall. And when we fall, then we are so miserable, no, Jaya. How many people you have seen who spoil their life with anger? There is hate, there is jealousy, there is greed, there is pride. Ultimately, what you said, the answer you already said, the answer is avidya. The answer is ignorance. If I realize I am not I, then where is the, like you said, that little child that's giving a chocolate, is not, that I-ness is not there. That same little child, Jaya, don't you agree that when the child grows big, the child develops an ego? And the ego robs our happiness. I don't know what you would like to add on to this.
Uh, just as selfishness takes away happiness, ego also takes away happiness, because the more egoistic you are, the more insecure you are, the more threatened you feel, and then you feel that everybody is an enemy. You know, it's like on the surface of the ocean, there is a bubble, small bubble. What is the bubble? Bubble is this ocean water, a little bit of ocean water that has enclosed a little bit of air. What is the vast ocean? Same water, same air. But because it is in a different form, different configuration, what we call as Nama Rupa is different, it assumes an identity of its own, ego, and then it has to grow bigger, it has to swallow up all the other bubbles, and then it bursts. So, right through this process, if the bubble thinks that it is an individual separate from the totality, then it suffers through
Correct.
the
Correct.
journey. But at any point, if the bubble understands that I am not the bubble, I am the ocean, then all sorrow ends.
So that, yeah. So like you said, Jay, we'll keep last 10, 15 minutes purely on this subject to help people to get to what you're saying, awakening that I am not this bubble, I am the ocean. And that will obviously give our viewers a glimpse of Satchit Anand. We will try to get to that. But let's get to a little bit, I want to pull your brain a little bit on why today in the world there's so much depression. People are thinking of suicide. To me, I would leave you with my 7, I told you the 7 monsters of the ego, and I'm leaving you with the 7 miseries of the mind for you to tell me how these work: fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, and guilt. So to me, these are creating what is depression, suicide. Tell us, what do you think, how the world is suffering because of this?
Primarily because people don't have a higher vision, people lack thought of anything beyond themselves. So the law is, as you think, so you become.
Correct.
Okay, you think you're a limited physical person, you are Mr. or Mrs. So and so, then you will remain that. But
Correct.
when you identify with, let's say, the community, you identify with the nation, the whole world, to the extent you think of the higher, you the power that resides in that entity becomes yours, or rather you become that entity. So it's very important to understand that you cannot achieve greatness with a small mind. Your mind must expand. And so it what Vedanta recommends is that you go as far as possible. You may not be able to think of enlightenment, you may not be able to think of the world, but at least you can identify with your community, with the larger family, with your organization maybe, and that is called working in a spirit of yajna, service and sacrifice for a higher goal. Then to that extent you become happier, and as you achieve that goal, then you understand, why should I be limited only to the community? Let me think of the nation. Then, when you are established in the nation, you say, oh, but there are people outside the nation who are also human beings, who are also suffering. Let me work for them, you know. And that is how in Vedanta we have the goal of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The whole
Beautiful.
world, universe is my family.
But I wish people could get to the basics. Why people are, see, you say it so beautifully. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. It says so beautiful. But Jaya, if we are not able to keep our family as our family, then how can we keep our community, our city, our country, and the world as a family? Today, there is war. Today, you are seeing Russia and Ukraine. It is a shock to me, a shock that this is just going on and on. I mean, there is no diplomatic solution to it. Powerful nations in this world are behaving helpless. And even like this Israel and Gaza. Jaya, I'm just giving you an offbeat comment here before we come back to the subject. If we want happiness, we don't need political and military leaders. We need spiritual leaders. Because the solution lies in spirituality. Unless we realize that you and me are the same spirit, we may appear to wear different bodies. You are Jaya and I am AiR. That's why I changed my name. When I realized I'm not Ravi, this fellow is Ravi, I'm the Atma in Ravi, I became AiR. But you know very well that your name is Jaya, but you are a divine soul. You are an immortal soul. This simple message, what did you say? This whole Vasudeva Kutumbakam, how is this going to become a reality, Jaya? Unless we all realize that we are we are all waves of the same ocean. Yes, Jaya.
So, as you rightly said, you have to begin with the family.
Yeah.
So now what is happening is we all we experience conflict with the people we love most. Even within the family, there is conflict. So we need to understand why it is so. It is because we don't have what is known as unconditional love. Our
Beautiful.
love is conditional to certain expectations that you have of people.
Correct.
So it begins with, if I am not complete by myself, I don't have the ability to stand by myself, then I need to lean on various people.
Correct.
So when you lean, like if somebody were to lean on your shoulder all the time, you would feel like saying, get off my back, it's uncomfortable. The same thing happens at the emotional level. The mind resists this overbearing nature of people around you. So you hit back, and that is the conflict. When you have expectation, the wife expects the husband to come home at a certain time, take her out on vacation, take her out to movies, this, that, and the other. When this is not met with, there is frustration, anger, and conflict. So, as I said, it starts with the home. If we bring ourselves to the level where we say, I love you for what you are, irrespective of whether you do anything for me or not, that is the starting point. Then you will get to universal love.
Beautiful. But people don't understand the meaning, like you said, of love. I tell people very beautifully, I love what you said. When you say, I love you because I need you, then in reality, I don't love you. I only need you. But if I need you because I love you, then I don't actually need you. I only love you. So Jaya, unless we have such conversations and this conversation reaches the drawing rooms of our homes, for example, you said something beautiful. You said, unhappiness happens because of expectation. Now, if only we switch, if the mantra in our house is accept, don't expect. If only we switch the words, both similar words. As long as you expect, you'll be sad. If you accept, you will be happy, you'll be glad. So now, because the world has gone on a journey of a material journey, more merchandise, more technology, more gimmicks, more mobile phones, more cosmetics for the skin, more laptops, more movies, more theatre. The whole world has become bhoga. So the people are so much after pleasure, tell me Jaya if you agree or not, that the time to stop and contemplate and meditate and be still and experience peace has gone. There's no, people have to slow down their pace. We are so much in a race. We are trying to be an ace. We are caught in the maze. There's no grace. How will we be happy? So what do you think about this?
Yes, true. So then, when you move to the intellectual level, the intellect is preoccupied with analyzing the world, trying to get the best out of the world for humanity and for ourselves. So we have become a generation where we are focusing on exploiting nature, exploiting the earth, exploiting the world for our benefit. So
Correct.
instead, and the intellect is very sharp at that, we have science and technology has given us many, many blessings. But if you train the intellect to think, question the law, like the sun rises every morning and sets every evening. Who created the sun? Who makes sure that the sun rises and sets meticulously? Who makes sure that my heart pumps ceaselessly, without breakdowns, without maintenance throughout my life? Who enables me to breathe oxygen? So, these questions, when you ask, you don't get to the answers, but it takes you to a whole new world of appreciating and admiring the beauty, the magnificence, and the sheer excellence that is spread all over in the world. So, if you train your intellect to distinguish between that which is permanent and impermanent,
Yeah.
and focus on the permanent, then the changes that happen in the impermanent world don't affect you.
Beautiful.
And you said a very important thing of accept people and things as they are and not try and change them. This acceptance, we have to see where we accept and how much happiness it gives. For instance, we understand the beauty of a lion is its ferocity, and we go all the way to South Africa to see a lion kill its prey and admire it. The beauty of a deer is its timidity. The beauty of a dog is what it is. So we have learned to assess animals for what they are, accept them for what they are, and love them for what they are. Similarly, we should do with human beings. The
Yeah.
husband should understand the beauty of my wife is her indiscipline, maybe. The wife should understand the beauty of my husband is that he is short tempered. Both parents should understand the beauty of our kids is there. The house is in a mess all the time and the kids are there. That is their beauty. The beauty of a teenager is her rebelliousness. Anything you tell a teenager, she'll say no. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And once you do that, you understand the nature of the world, you accept the world for what it is, you have no unrealistic expectations, no frustrations.
But you know what you say is so true. But the root of all this, for example, today in a family, we are finding all over the world families are struggling because children are growing up in a new generation. You can't stop the children from internet. You can't stop them from social media. Parents are struggling. Children are going into a world of super specialization. So the world is changing, Jaya. The world is not the same. But what is not changing is what you said, the permanent. For example, there is so much beauty in a sunrise, in a sunset, in the birds that fly, the sun that glows, the wind that blows, the water that flows. But we are lost, we are not able to appreciate not just the beauty, but the divinity that manifests as this beauty. What you said so beautifully, asking questions as to what governs this universe. A simple thing, people ask the question, why do bad things happen to good people? People are suffering in this world and they say, why me? I didn't do anything wrong. Why am I suffering? But they don't understand there is trauma because of karma. And they don't understand this drama called life. So ultimately, I don't know whether you want to dwell a little bit more. See, Jaya, we started on the subject of happiness, right? Just to recap for what we've spoken up to now. So we are saying everybody in this world wants to be happy. I don't think that you and me disagree. Only a person in a mental asylum maybe doesn't want to be happy. Probably he also still wants to be happy. Even a little dog will wag its tail to tell you it likes to wag its tail to be happy. We can't see it in every animal. But we become unhappy. We talked of the mind, we talked of the ego, you talked about selfishness, you talked about ignorance. There's a combination of things that make us happy. But Jaya, is there a way to eternal happiness? Is there a way to live a life of bliss? I don't want to share. First, I have a secret I have discovered and just written a new book called The Happiness Secret. I finished the book yesterday. But I'd like to hear from you. What is your mantra of this secret of happiness? What is, if you were talking to a bunch of people and telling them, this is the mantra to be happy forever, all yours.
Yes. The mantra for happiness, what I call as the formula for happiness, was given centuries ago in the Upanishads. It's given in the Kathopanishad. It is repeated again in the Bhagavad Gita. And the formula is very simple. It is happiness equals number of desires fulfilled divided by number of desires harbored, number of desires you have. So if you temporarily go along with the formula, it is a mathematical formula, and you want to increase your happiness, what must you do? Either increase the numerator or decrease the denominator.
Absolutely.
And all of us are focused on the numerator. We have fulfilled many desires in our life. In the last 1 month, we have fulfilled many desires. But has our happiness increased? Not necessarily. Why is the question we need to ask? Then we'll arrive at the answer, which is because as we increase the numerator, the denominator also increases. For instance, you go to a mall to buy a pair of shoes because you like walking, exercising. It's a perfectly justifiable desire. But you enter the mall, somebody offers you a limited edition perfume to sample. So you sample it and say, nice. You go a little ahead and you see maybe an Apple Watch and you say, I always wanted this. Third store, you see a nice shirt and you say, oh, lovely. Fourth store is luckily for you, the shoe store. You buy the pair of shoes and walk out of the mall. What have you done? You fulfilled one desire. Numerator has gone up by 1. But without your knowing it, the denominator has gone up by 3. Perfume, watch, shirt. And happiness shrunk.
So beautiful, so beautifully you say it.
So mathematically, the reality is that the numerator is irrelevant. It doesn't matter how low the numerator is. What really matters is the denominator. If you systematically bring down your desires, your happiness increases in leaps and bounds. And when the denominator comes down to 0, what happens? Infinite happiness. This is mathematically true, spiritually true. The state of enlightenment. God equals human being minus desire.
So beautiful. So you say it so beautifully, yeah. So
now, if you want to reduce the number of desires, what must you do? This is where we all get stuck. Because it is not possible to remove desire. Nobody can do that. But what we can do is pick up a higher desire. We all have to go back to our childhood. As children, we all had thousands of desires for toys. Today, do you have a desire for toys? No. How did they go? If you understand that, you will now know what to do with desires. How did they go? You just grew to understand a higher enjoyment. Like the child learned how to balance on a bicycle. That thrill was so great that toys fell. Then the child becomes a teenager and falls in love. Then everything goes away.
Yeah.
So, like this, we have all grown to adulthood. But as adults, we are spiritual children. We have thousands of desires for physical things. Now, you pick up, let's say, a young girl who is so caught up with food and these physical things. When she falls in love, what happens? I keep telling people, when your teenage daughter shows indifference to food, that's a danger sign. It means she's fallen in love. You know?
Interesting.
So she comes home and you ask, what will you have for dinner? She says, anything, it doesn't matter. That is a danger sign. She's moved to a higher
Next.
enjoyment,
Yeah,
Then
next level.
the teenager wants to get a PhD from one of the best universities in America. She goes there, she is deprived of the luxuries at home, she has to go through physical inconvenience. She is moving away from her family and friends to strangers, so emotionally deprived. But intellectually, she goes through that hard work for 6 years because her goal is to get the PhD. And then when you move to the spiritual, all desires go away. That is the state of enlightenment.
So you have said it so beautifully. I think didn't the awakened one, the Buddha, did he not say that the samsara is dukkha, and the cause of dukkha is desire, and the cause and the way to overcome desire is what he called the eightfold path. And I think what you're saying is very beautiful, and I am immediately recalled to what the Buddha said. So, is this the formula that will give us eternal happiness? So, I have never heard it so beautiful like how you said. I've learned from you today this idea of the numerator and the denominator. Right? It is such a logical and practical way. But Jaya, this will give you happiness, what I call pleasure. I want to move to a next step of happiness, which you covered. You said that we will reach that state of enlightenment and then we will let go of all this. But with my personal life experience, Jaya, I was running a business for 25 years. I was getting kick after kick after kick, success, pleasure. I bought a limousine. I bought all kinds of Mercedes. I had a blast. Then I took an exit from achievement. And I found something beautiful. I found a state of contentment and fulfillment. What you said, you spoke about it, you said serving others. We run charitable homes in Bangalore, 2-3 homes with 600 to 800 people from the street. So today we served breakfast to 600 people. Now some of them are lepers, beggars, they're picked up from the gutters. But the moment I was doing it as a good karma, I was getting pleasure. But now, like Vivekananda said, I'm not doing it as good karma. I'm doing it as puja. That each person I serve is a manifestation of God. Each person is God. But in that interim phase before I reached there, so I found achievement, then I found pleasure went to peace. And people are struggling to find peace of mind. Because the mind, I tell people, they say, what to do with my mind? I say, what do you do with an AK-47? They say, that's a dangerous weapon. It can shoot you. It's a very terrorist gun. I said, but what about the MK-50? The MK-50 is the mind killer 50. It's shooting at you 50 bullets, 50 thoughts a minute. So Jaya, when these thoughts are drilling us and killing us, then they are all toxic thoughts. Principally, the mind doesn't want us to be enlightened, because the moment we are enlightened, there is no mind. The mind ceases to exist. So to me, I tell people, Jaya, that like you said a teenager who says, khana kuch bhi, that's an indication that she's fallen in love. Some of your indicators are superb. I'm learning good things from you. But how can one move from pleasure to peace? And then I was fortunate. I moved to discovering the purpose of my existence. For me, life was a circus. Life was a circus. I was like a clown jumping up and down till I discovered the purpose. When I discovered Neti Neti Tattvamasi, which is, I am not this body, I am not this mind, I am the soul. So in this process of 10 years, your formula is something I'm going to take home today, but let me quickly give you, I don't know if I can quickly give it to you in 2 minutes, the happiness secret. To me, HAPPP, my happiness has 3 P's, INESS, and then secret, SECRET. I'm quickly running through this with you, and I want your expert advice as to how you would like to add to this. The first step of happiness, H, is having enthusiasm. Enthusiasm means having faith, hope, and trust, because that gives you sustainability to face life. A stands for accept. Don't protest, because everything is unfolding as per karma. So don't protest. If something is happening to you today, accept it, because it is what the seed is already planted. Then enjoy pleasure. Enjoy pleasure. But like you said, don't let the numerator go up, and don't let the denominator keep increasing. So let your pleasure not become bhoga. From pleasure, move to peace. And peace you don't have to find, just still your mind. Peace you will find. Then move from pleasure to peace to purpose. Who am I? Why have I come here to the earth? What was the cause of my birth? So when you finish HAPPI, learn to live in the now. In the now. Because when you go to yesterday and tomorrow, there is misery and sorrow. So be in the present moment. N is flipping from negative to positive, which I call NEP to PEP. Negative energy has poison, positive energy has power. E, you spoke about E. Learn to enjoy the ecstasy of love, not love that is skin deep. Don't just enjoy love that comes from the skin, but love that comes from the divine within. And after you do that, S, surrender. We all know the song, but we don't live the song. Many of us sing, Kesara, Sara, whatever will be, the future's not. So, Jaya, can we control the future, which is not in our hands? There are 2 aspects. One, karma, which is in our hands today. We can do action. You called it action. And one, karma, which is already done in the past. Now, this will unfold. And the final S is Sat Chit Anand. How to live in the state of eternal bliss in truth consciousness. When I tell this happiness secret, people say, but what's the secret? I say the secret, S, is smile all the while. You know, when you go and you find people frowning, like you said, that little child, that frown can make you drown. So I say, smile. E, eliminate the mind and the 7 miseries. And then SEC, choose to be happy. Because if you don't choose, you will lose happiness. Happiness is a choice. R, respond, don't react. I tell people, there's an ammunition called RDX. RDX is a very powerful explosive. But in life, if we react, we will destroy and we will explode. So RDX is my formula. And E, eliminate the monsters of the ego. And finally, my T of my secret, be tied in yoga, not in bhoga. So from your experience, I am asking you, This book of mine talks about this happiness secret, which I am saying guarantees a secret. Would you like to say what part of the secret appeals to you, what you think is missing? What would you like to add on to it?
It's very comprehensive. There's nothing that we can add to it. It's a beautiful way of putting it all together in just 2 words. So it's well put, and that's how it is.
Okay. So, Jay, then you tell us a little bit more about your happiness from your Vedanta point of view or Advaita point of view. How would you help people to get there?
Yes. See, first stage, the beginning is to understand that desire and ego are what obstructs you from your own brilliance, from your own power. So the fact is that you are God. You don't know it. And when you don't know that you are full, God means you're full, you're complete.
Yeah.
When you don't know you're full, you become a fool. You
Very good.
imagine an emptiness within.
Yeah.
So, where does desire come from? Emptiness. When your stomach is empty, your mind goes towards an object called food. That's the desire for food. So, all of us experience this emptiness from morning to night, from birth to death. But because of this, desire thoughts come in our mind and they go out into the world to obtain objects to fill this emptiness. But this emptiness is never filled because you can fill a real emptiness. You can't fill an imaginary emptiness.
Correct.
So, what must we do? Now, the reality is that we have desires. What must we do with the desire? First step is to bring the intellect into play and question. For instance, let's say you might travel across the world, you might see a beautiful Mercedes and say, nice car. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with liking a car. But immediately, if you start thinking of buying that car, possessing the car, the intellect must come in and say, number one, can you afford the car? Maybe the answer is no. Number two, is it necessary for you to have that car? You already have another luxury car. Answer is no. Then you press the delete button on the desire, it goes away.
Correct.
But if you allow it to take root in your system, then you end up with the desire that you can't afford, that is not in your life's mission, and your whole life goes on a tangential route.
Beautiful.
So, first thing, bring the intellect. If the intellect says, yes, by all means, you can afford it, it is in line with your life's mission, go ahead and fulfill that desire. So, that is the first step. Second step is to reduce the number of desires by fixing a higher goal. So, let's say you're working for your community or you're working for the country, then to that extent, you're not feeding your selfish desires. You have less value for it. They sublimate. It's a beautiful word, sublimate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah? Second is expand your circle of love. And that has a fabulous return. See, it's like this. Suppose a person's like brother-in-law buys a house. How do you feel? There's heartburn. You're not happy about it. But if your son buys a house, you're very happy, even if you don't get an opportunity to live in your son's house. He may be in America, you're in India, but you gloat over it. Why? Because you feel one with the son.
Yeah.
So, like this, if you increase your circle of oneness, your happiness multiplies. If you feel one with the whole country, your happiness increases 1.8 billion times, 1.4 billion times.
Yeah. Beautiful.
So then you don't need to fulfill your desires go away. Third, very important, when your attention shifts from the world which is temporary, which is there today, gone tomorrow, to the permanent aspects of life, then you have no value for the impermanent. Like the fifth chapter of the Gita says, Nateshu ramate buddhaha, the wise do not revel in such temporary, impermanent aspects of life. So, with this, your desires reduce, you gain that peace that you were talking about. You reach that state of uparati, withdrawal from the world. You're fit for meditation. In meditation, the last traces of impurity go away and you become God. Like somebody asked Buddha, it's like you put it well. What is it like? It's like just waking up from a dream. So when someone asked Buddha, who are you? He didn't say, I am the enlightened soul. He simply said, I am awake. That's how he got the name Buddha. Buddha means awake.
Yeah.
I am awake, which means the rest of us are fast asleep.
That's true, isn't it true? So, Jaya, it's not that happiness is a faraway dream, but if we think that happiness is the shadow, and we are running behind the shadow, the more you chase the shadow, the further it goes away. It's I always tell people that the musk deer is running on the cliffs of the Himalayas, searching for the fragrance of the musk. Ultimately, it falls from the top of the Himalayas and dies. The hunter cuts open its navel and takes out the musk. The musk was inside it. But when will we human beings come to know that happiness is not, like you started this whole discussion today, happiness is not in an external object. This is how you started the discussion today. That happiness is inside us, but we are not able to realize that bliss. The soul, I call the soul, soul, as a spark of unique life. When people tell God, I said, don't say God, because people get confused. Which God are you talking about? I call God SIP, SIP, a supreme immortal power. So then it doesn't matter whether it was Shiva or Krishna or Jesus or Buddha. It doesn't matter whether it's Guru Nanak. It's that power that governs the universe. We don't know who, what, where, but that power is inside you, Jaya. So when we start seeing God in one and all, like you said, I like when you said that if our happiness goes to 1.4 billion people, then we multiply by 1.4 billion times. But I would like to say, let it go to 8 billion people, and it gets multiplied 8 billion times. And let it go to 20 trillion creatures. And then you love a rat and a cat and a dog and a frog, because each one still has that Atma, still has Paramatma inside. So I think it's a beautiful aspect. What do you think about karma and happiness? Before we wind up, I don't want to miss the important subject of karma. What is your view of karma?
Karma is simply a law that states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And when in philosophy we talk about action, we include action, emotion, thought, and the root cause of everything, which is vasana. So, if you want, like for instance, it is at this moment, you are the product of all your past actions, emotions, thoughts put together, the resultant of all of that. If you don't like what you are or how you are or where you are, the only way of changing it is by changing your thoughts, your emotions, your actions towards where you want to be. Then the resultant will gradually change. Like in physics, the resultant of all the forces changes depending on the force of that one direction. So,
Correct.
if you choose happiness, like you said, then keep on choosing happiness over unhappiness. A time will come when you will get there and you will get to eternal happiness if that is what you want. So, the first thing is to decide that you want happiness and then direct all your actions, emotions, and thoughts towards that goal. You will get it.
Beautiful. Let me ask you two quick questions on this, because some people are confused. A lot of people, they know everybody understands this simply, that as you sow, so shall you reap. This is not any high tech science. So what you do will come back to you. They agree. But when sometimes when bad things happen to them and we tell them that it is not what you said, it is not your present action that's giving you a bad reaction. These are your past actions, whether it's of this janma or the previous, we don't know. But there's no way for karma to make a mistake. So this is one thought I'm leaving with you. And the second thing, a lot of people are very disturbed because they say, I have rotten thoughts. And these rotten thoughts, I control them. But somebody has told me that rotten thoughts are equal to bad karma. So my theory is I console them as follows, and I want your view on it. I tell them there's a thought chain. Thoughts become feelings, become actions. They tend to flow. So as you think, so you will feel, and thoughts, emotions, and actions. But just like if you have a very good thought of going and serving 100 people, but you don't go and serve 100 people, you only think of going and serving 100 people, it's not a good karma because you did not do it. You should have done it. And so if there's a rotten thought, but your intellect stopped the rotten thought, cut the rotten thought from becoming a rotten action, you have saved yourself from a bad karma. So do give me your thoughts on this for clarity.
Yes. The first point you made was people saying, what if my past is past lives? Hmm? Then what do you do? See, it is not just actions in your past life. It is, as a result of all of that, it is your attitude at this moment, your
Correct.
thinking at this moment. So,
Correct.
this you can change. And you must hold yourself accountable, responsible for the way you're thinking now, for the attitude you have now. And
Beautiful.
then you can change.
Yeah.
Then the second point you made was that in this course of action, if you have negative thoughts, you're absolutely right. The first stage is in arresting this flow
Of
from
thought.
thought to emotion to action. If
Correct.
you're able to arrest it, to that extent, you will be saved from the negative impact of your
Correct.
action. But from the root, also you can eradicate it by thinking positively, by exchanging negativity for positivity. So
Beautiful.
that's why we recommend intake of powerful positive thoughts, preferably first thing in the morning, and some program of spiritual evolution where you expose yourself to knowledge. There is intake of knowledge. And with this intake of positive knowledge, it replaces any negativity that you may have.
Good. So then we must always flip over from negative to positive. One more important thing that, as you said, people struggle to go from their mind state to get their intellect active. So, to me, my learning is when from the mind, you still the mind. As you still the mind, you reach that state of mindfulness or awareness or consciousness. In this state of consciousness, the intellect shines. When the intellect shines, then the mind is still, you can discriminate and make the right choice. Would you like to add something to this?
Yes, just that there are two ways of doing it. One is, as you said, you can subdue the mind through love, through expansion of your circle of identification. And you can strengthen the intellect by exercising the intellect, thinking,
Yeah, yeah.
questioning, inquiring. And I can't think of a better source of strengthening the intellect than the Bhagavad Gita or Vedanta, which is designed to do two things. One, strengthen the intellect, and help you in one's spiritual progress. So, whichever method one follows, we can subdue the mind and strengthen the intellect, and you're done.
I think we must not only give time for the physical gym, we must also strengthen intellectual muscles. And these intellectual muscles are more important than going to the gym. Okay, so Jaya, one more thing before I end. I think the world today is running behind what we call entertainment and not enlightenment. So give me your thoughts on this before we close. Why are we chasing entertainment and not enlightenment?
Because of the simple reason that we want instant gratification. Today, we are in the world of instant pleasure. Nobody likes to wait for the future. So, we need to uh, train people to understand what the Bhagavad Gita says is that true happiness appears in the garb of sorrow. In other words, everything that is good for us initially is unpleasant, but it leads to everlasting happiness. That which gives instant pleasure yields permanent sorrow. So once we understand this, then we will start, in addition to getting instant pleasure, we will start investing some of our time and effort in a permanent happiness. So that is why we have a periodic reminders. All the details are on our website, vedantavision.org.
Okay. I hope our viewers will go and look at your social handles as well as join your programs. Your closing message to the group, Jayaji, on happiness and the beautiful session we've had today. I would like you to give your closing message and then I'll wind up.
Yes. Um, every human being is born to find happiness, not just temporary happiness, not fleeting happiness, but permanent, eternal happiness. And if you don't achieve that, it is the greatest loss because everything in life is designed perfectly for us to attain that happiness. So find it, search for it, and it will yield rich dividend. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya. Thank you so much, Jayaji. My dear friends, you were blessed today to hear dynamic Jaya Rao in her views on happiness, on life, on she's a spiritual leader as well. In the last 10 years, I was blessed and I have shared with Jaya the happiness secret. I have to, with all humility, submit to you that happiness is something you should not lose because happiness is something you can choose. And don't lose happiness, my dear friends. And don't think that happiness is only pleasure. And like Jaya said, I agree that don't just go on increasing your desires because desires will never quench your thirst. They will ultimately make you burst. And so, therefore, we have to, like she said, I completely agree, we have to evolve. There must be a sublimation. We must transcend. We must go from pleasure to peace to purpose. We must take an exit from achievement, drive down fulfillment, but reach that ultimate state of enlightenment. Entertainment is ephemeral. It comes and goes, but eternal bliss forever flows. So Jaya also agrees we will have complete synergy. Luckily, normally in a podcast we would have disagreements in 2 or 3 views, but today I don't think that we've had any point where we had to disagree on. We both have complete synergy, and you have 2 happiness ambassadors today telling you that you can be happy. Just choose to be happy. Just realize that make some small changes. Don't expect, accept. Surrender, don't wonder. Make others happy, you will be happy. Smile all the while. Don't jump from yesterday to tomorrow. That's causing misery and sorrow. Live in the now. Flip from nep to pep, and you will be happy. Remember the 7 miseries of the mind. Beware. Fear, worry, stress, anxiety, regret, shame, and guilt. Beware of the 7 monsters of the ego: anger, hate, revenge, jealousy, pride, greed, and selfishness. We all experience them. They are my personal experience, but I have let go of them. And you let go of them when you realize, like Vedanta teaches us what Jaya told you, you realize you are not you. You search for a higher purpose. You let go like a little child let go of its toys. Jaya said, we will move to a higher state of desire. Our desires will evolve. And with this long closing message, I want to thank Jayaji for being on this call. It has been a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege to have you on this Happiness podcast. With folded hands, I bow down to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. for patiently listening to the video. And if you have questions, if you want to contact me, just WhatsApp me on 98451 55555. WhatsApp India 919845155555. But if you want to get answers to your questions, then come on Zoom, and the Zoom ID is on your screen. Every day at 8, you will find answers to all the difficult questions of life. See you there.